We have a really nice crowd out there. Lots of people commenting, lots of feedback. So exciting.
Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the next session. And the session is with Arron Finn. And Arron is an SEO manager for a company called Legacy Communications. And Arron is going to share with us how to do content optimization for SEO in the age of transformer algorithms.
Super. Thanks so much, Natalie. I'll share my screen and we can get into the presentation. I'll start by introducing myself and where I come from. So to get started, I'm an SEO manager at Legacy Communications, as Natalie highlighted. The team and I, we aim to deliver on business objectives, helping companies reach new customers through SEO. I've worked in the SEO industry for the last 5 years. I enjoy, my skill set is strongest in technical SEO, content, creative opportunities, stuff to describe creative opportunities. It would be kind of like Google Shopping. It could be stuff like web stories is something that I think will be really interesting in the future as well. And I've worked with marketing agencies across Ireland since 2018. Today I'm presenting with you from the southeast of Ireland. It's not as sunny as it should be, but I'm really happy to be here today. So with all of my SEO strategies that I organize, I'm I find it really important to make sure we achieve business goals and we track those business goals. So I was very fortunate to have an 89% growth in revenue for my portfolio in 2019. And last year, when I was working with Wolfgang Digital, who are a company based in Dublin but have global clients, and we had 1,417% growth in revenue for our portfolio between March 2020 to February 2021. And that is really where most of the insights today come from. So thanks very much for everyone listening in, and we'll get straight into it. So today's presentation will cover 3 parts. A very brief introduction into transformer algorithms, why consider BERT or other transformer algorithms when you're looking at your content, and how to organize it in a way that allows them to understand your context, and then how I changed my optimization strategy in the past 12 months. So what are transformer algorithms? The main 3 we'll discuss today are related to Google, because at the end of the day, in the Western world, Google is the main search engine that I worry about and that we as a community worry about. So BERT was announced in October 2019, followed by Smith again in October 2020, and then Big Bird in January of this year. Both Smith and Big Bird are connected in the sense of the way they operate and the way they analyze content, which I find it will be very interesting for our SEO community. And transformer algorithms adopt an attention mechanism weighing the significance of each part of the input data. What that essentially means is, if we were to form a corpus around a keyword, provide that corpus to BERT or to Big Bird or to Smith, it would analyze that content and analyze each word, taking into consideration the words that came before and the words that come after. This is a big change, because beforehand, algorithms would only look at the words that would come after a word. And that only means that they're only having a partial view of what is actually published in a piece of content. According to Google, when they published their papers on BERT, it represented the biggest leap forward in the past 5 years and one of the biggest leap forwards in the history of search. And if we take this quote into consideration, BERT at its origination was supposed to have an impact on 1 in 10 queries, and I feel as time passes, that will only improve and only get bigger. So why consider changing our approach? So the issue with BERT's algorithm is the 512 token limit. And generally, it's considered that 1 token equals 1 word, which limits the amount of content the algorithm can consume. Both Smith and Big Bird turned this on its head, because What they do is they analyze a piece of content or a page in terms of its structure, and also they take that content into chunks. So this is very important for long form pieces of content, because as an SEO community for the past 3 or 4 years, we've published a lot of long form content, and Ahrefs have created research papers to show that the long form content correlates with better organic traffic or more organic traffic. Now, we know as an industry, correlation doesn't always mean causation, but it's one of those things that is our best guide that we can use to see what we should do in our strategies. Big Bird and Smith basically mean that anyone who organize themselves and have written a lot of long form content can expect to receive a return on investment from that into the future. And it'll also allow Google to match the customer's queries with the right content that's online. So it provides better context for Google to understand what a person is looking for, and then match them with that content. Over the past year, I've made some significant changes to my optimization strategy, and I'd like to share some of those with you, starting with where this need for change came from. So when I worked with Wolfgang Digital, we had a client that was in the load balancer niche. If anyone is familiar with it, it's incredibly competitive. You've got some really big brands such as F5 that are listed here, and F5 is the market leader, and they are also a company that is involved in many software verticals that are connected to load balancing and security. So they have a really strong website with a lot of authority. When we were looking at this keyword, our client naturally wanted us to improve their ranking, where when we joined with them, they were in the top 20s or even in the top 30s. And it was something that we knew ourselves we would love to be able to improve. Thanks very much for the question, Taylor. I'll cover those at the end of my presentation. So I'll just continue on. I just see you made a comment now. So, for example, what we did was we took into account the content that already ranks for this keyword. We took into account our links and backlinks, and we made our changes over a period of 2 to 3 months. We didn't see any major changes that were in the positive impact for us. So what ended up happening was around February of this year, March of this year, we decided that we would actually go back and review it. The only change we made, which is an insight here, is that we changed the title, because what we found was we weren't standing out enough within the search result for load balancers. A lot of people for this keyword were using stuff like what is load balancer, how do load balancers work, and we were ourselves. So we changed the title to Load Balancers Explained, which was the general theme and intent of our page. And the insight here is to, instead of following the results of in the search result and going with, okay, if someone uses what is, I'll use what is, or if they use best, start to think of other words that we can use, such as most reviewed, most trusted, get, stuff like this that are also action words and may provoke someone to click on your link, which is in itself is a way for you to stand out. To do this, use tools such as Bright Local's local search result. I feel it's really important for us to try and get as close as possible to the unfiltered result where possible. And Bright Local allows you to do a search for a keyword in let's say, for example, America. So that's quite important for me, because I have clients that want to rank their content in America. So being in Ireland, it allows me to see what a search result may look like for somebody in America. But it also means if you're working in a niche that is quite young in your country, if you Google it in somewhere like America, you can actually see what that search result may adapt or may become. And that's very important. Let's say if you're working with companies that are new in your country in terms of software, you can do that search query in America to see what the results are. So let's say, for example, if it's in software, the likes of G2, usually rank really well, and that's because they're an aggregator, and overall across many niches, Google loves aggregators because they seem to fulfill the intent of the search query, especially when it's upper funnel keywords related to products and services. Another example is when you get to the search result, if you're looking at a keyword, consider the URLs and see the naming convention of those URLs to see do they match with the keyword you're trying to target. For us, we did this with a keyword that a client of ours called Active Iron wants to rank for, and it was best time to take vitamins. When we looked at this, we saw that we weren't doing very well. We were kind of between 11th and 12th and 13th at the time, and our title was our 101 guide on the best time to take vitamins. So it was quite long, it was quite generic. We were taking the idea that the 101 guide would capture people's attention, and it just didn't work. So the insight here is to find out what the ComSet highlight in titles and descriptions. When we looked at the top 20, 30 results, we found that timing of taking your vitamins was really important. And basically what we were able to do was highlight morning, afternoon, and evening because that's what the customer was looking for. And as a result, for the past 3 months, we've been ranking in the top 3, which is really nice considering we're competing with Cleveland Clinic and we're competing with Healthline, which are 2 substantial websites in the health space. Another reason why to Google your keyword you're looking at, this was one that a few friends of and I found, which was to do with worst fragrances. When you look at the search results, in particular the top 20, top 30 results, you see perfume is referenced a lot instead of fragrance. I have a feeling that if we looked at this search result maybe 2 years ago, we would have seen an exact match page that was referencing worst fragrances. And it's interesting for me to see that the query now, the intent is beginning to be understood on a deeper level. Google's able to say, okay, this page about terrible perfumes ranks best, and it has the featured snippet. Once again, another close example was a client of ours in Ireland are in the hearing aid space, and recently we've spoken to them about creating content hubs. For our content hubs, we want to do one naturally on hearing aids because there's multiple varieties of hearing aids that people can select. When I had chosen the keywords, I started to Google them to see what's happening in the search result. And I expected for in-ear hearing aids to see pages that are exact match. When I got the result, I found that Specsavers, one of our competitors, actually were ranking in first position with invisible hearing aids. And I feel like, once again, this is a result of the transformer algorithm. So the idea, what I want to highlight here is to make sure to study the search result as best you can and ask yourself why as much as possible. Why is this happening? How is this happening? Is everything okay, Natalie?
Yes, everything's okay. We have a couple of questions and we're only 5 minutes left.
Okay, I nearly finished, so I'll answer them when I get to the end. So to go back then to the best time to take vitamins, in this example, what I did was I shortened the introduction, created jump links to different subsections that would speak about the best time to take a vitamin or iron or vitamin D, for example. And at the bottom of the page, I had a table which would specify in the morning, take these, in the evening, take these. And it just gives people a really strong takeaway. So ask yourself, how do I satisfy the user intent? And where you can, if you're able, add schema. So for me, schema is something that allows us to connect to the semantic search result. And in that, you're able to, for example, this is a client of ours called Surmise. And what we have done is we've created a schema that describes their organization, the founders connected to that organization. We also describe the web pages that the schema is on. We provide what is the main entity, and we use Ting. So for example, Surmise is an organization creating software for businesses to analyze contracts and to get insight from those contracts in terms of timelines, when contracts need to be renewed, and what terms and conditions are there. For every page, what we do is we highlight the things that are important on that page. So for example, contract law, it could be contracts, it could be software, anything that has a Wikipedia page that we can find we use same as to link that content together. And as a result, that's associating, in my view, Surmise with the topic knowledge that's available online and that Google's algorithms are trained on, so it already understands. To summarize overall, what I would highly recommend people use is Bright Local to get that local search result. Check the URL names if you're not unsure that you're using the right keyword, and in particular, check the words that are within those URLs. Ask yourself, how do you stand out in the search results, and use one keyword in your title and your main pieces of content where possible. And then always aim to satisfy the search intent of your search query, and where possible, if you're able to write schema, create schema graphs that describe your organization and associate it with topic knowledge. I see that Taylor asked a question about where do you see MUM fitting in with other models you've talked about today. And for me, MUM fits in where when you write your schema in the future, what we'll be able to do or what you can do today is you create also within that schema graph actions. So you, for example, say this for this page, you can do a read action, but you can also buy the product here, and you give like a buy action with that. So you're allowing the algorithm to say if someone is showing the intent of they're looking for product reviews, this is the page they can read, but they can also buy the product on this page as well. So it gives that level of intent that our website is able to match, or our customer's website is able to match. And I think MUM will expand on that, where the MUM will expand on both BERT and Smith and Big Bird over time, because it will be taking those insights that Google has gathered from the big data, and it will expand on it. I think MUM is a couple of years away in terms of when it's fully rolled out, because it's going to be an expensive algorithm trying to understand a lot of different information and taking information from multiple languages, as we've already found out. So it is going to get more and more exciting, and it will keep us on our toes as SEOs to try and continuously update with the algorithm. But if anyone has any other questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
We only have 1 minute left, so we'll try and go through a couple. Joe is asking, I write for multilingual content. Do the same rules apply in different languages?
I would strongly agree, yes.
Dave is asking, do you look at competitors' entities and create an entity gap to fill in missing entities?
Yes, that would fall under, let's say, for example, for me, it would be separate, but we would use that in the schema when we're trying to create it, where we would look at our competitors to make sure to see what examples they're using in internal linking and external links to see what we can take advantage of. Is there any more questions, Natalie?
There is a couple of questions. I'm going to post. Join me in the next session. There is a very interesting question. Arron, hopefully you're going to have time to join the next session and answer that question while we have to run. And we're out of time for this session. Arron, thank you so much. And I hope to see you in the next session. Thanks, everyone. See you there.